All right, guys, it's Joe Garcia
Yeah,
here with the
thank you. Mine
Closers
too.
Podcast. I'm here with my best friend, Anthony Ramirez. Last week we had Rob Neely, another good friend of ours. And I'm excited for this podcast. So, Anthony, tell us who you are, what you're doing right now in your business, and what life looked like before real estate.
What's up, man? I'm Anthony Ramirez, 25 years old. What my business looks like right now is, a current multi six-figure earner. Just hired my mom on as my assistant. We're about 7 months in. Just kind of learning the process of being a leader, but also be in production because the end goal is to, build a team of winners with energy and, be health focused. And life before real estate, it was great. I can't really complain too much, but it wasn't what I wanted.
When you say it wasn't what you wanted, what do you mean by that?
I've always wanted to start a business, be my own, be my own executive, if you will. And I just think, and I also really, really like people, serving people, and kind of making a difference in the community. And life prior to this didn't allow me, to have an opportunity to do that.
Mm. Okay, so you were confined to what you were doing before. Now, in an entrepreneurship role, an executive role, because that's exactly what you are, you feel like you can make more of an impact towards people, the community, people serving people, essentially. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. I feel like I can serve the community, but I can also allow my creative juices to flow and kind of make this business what I want it to be.
There you go. Well, listen, one reason why people love you and I love you is because you're magnetic. You talked about energy. You have great energy. You talked about leadership. People feel you, and they love to follow you. Where does that energy come from?
I would say I'm very curious about how to serve people, and I'm constantly working on my communication skills and like how to communicate with people in a way that they want to be communicated with. I would like to think I'm a positive and nice person to be around. So I can't speak for everybody on why I might have magnetic energy, but I just pride myself on leaving people better than they were before they met me.
And I think you do a fantastic job. So that's amazing. So now we're gonna get into about
Thanks.
your year. Your year, you showed up every single day with winning attitude, and your year personally has had its bumps. So when you, Anthony Ramirez, gets punched in the mouth by life, by just anything, how do you show up every single day with a winning attitude to work?
Well, I think Joe, I mean, you know me well, you know my background. I think getting punched in the mouth is maybe not something that I'm extremely accustomed to, but I would say I, as well as being curious about people, I'm also curious about how far it is that I can stretch my own personal growth. So I think having a year of just having the most adversity, whether it's personal, business, hiring on an assistant, just kind of handling all of this, you know, all of these responsibilities. I think I've just learned through adversity this year, showing up every single day with a winning attitude because number one, I have to. And number two, I just really like to see myself grow and push myself to my limits.
So if I'm hearing this correctly, it sounds like you like adversity.
Now I do.
Now you
Yeah,
do.
100% because I've seen the results. I've seen the product of myself going through adversity and I really like it.
Well, I love adversity too. I think it goes to show, hey, listen, like if you get punched in your mouth, can you get back up? Can you, if you're drowning right now, can you swim to the shore? And it sounds like that's exactly what you did. And throughout adversity, I think you learn more than adversity than from winning. Like I don't think nobody can debate that. Why? Because when you lose, you learn, and when you learn, you get one step closer to your goal. Okay, what happened in the last month that didn't get me to my goal personally, financially, business wise? How can we restructure, reorganize, and re-engineer, reverse engineer our goals for this month to hit it? And that's what adversity does. Can you get back up? So, what do you tell yourself when you're like in a string of like bad days or hard days, but you still want to show up for other people. Like how do you do that?
That's a really good question, man. There's a lot of reasons to what makes people tick, but my personal reasons are I've always told my family that I want to take care of them, whether it's financially or just be there for them. I told my fiance that, told my friends that, told the world that that's what I want for my life is just to take care of people. So I think I just try to pride myself on I guess putting myself in positions where I have to do what it is that I say I want to do, versus giving myself an easy way out. And then also, for example, this is just like a very simple thing, but very personal to me. I watched my dad work 7 days a week growing up. At one point, when I was younger, he had five different jobs.
Wow.
Um, I've seen a man where he's made no excuses for 50 years of his life. So on days where I'm, trying to take the easy way out or the path of least resistance, I think to myself, my dad operated that way for so many years. I have absolutely zero excuses because he worked that way, so I didn't have to, struggle in those ways. So if I just have to sit here and work an office job and go on appointments and dial the phone and talk to my friends, I don't think that's too bad of a life to live.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, that's amazing. I didn't know that about your dad. So your dad worked five different jobs at one time, 7 days a week,
Yeah.
never complained about it. I mean, you had to have learned something about that. And it sounds like you did. It sounds like no matter how tough it is, no matter how tough you got it, you can still show up to work every single day. And also in doing so, you still show up for others. What's another piece of like lesson that you learned from your dad and his work ethic?
Not so much his work ethic. Well, his work ethic, yes, but also the other piece that I learned from him is just sacrifice. I've never seen somebody less concerned with how they end up. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. I've never seen anybody less focused on themselves than him. He's very selfless. So the biggest lesson I learned from him is just being selfless and sacrifice. Just if you have a family, he's taught me how to operate with a family. There's no longer a personal agenda with yourself. It's how can I benefit them? You have friends, you have people that rely on you. You're not worried about yourself. You're worried about how they end up. And naturally, by doing right by people, then you'll get the same result.
Yeah,
Give them
that's
back to
beautiful
you.
because I don't know if you know this, but you embody a lot of your dad. You're a very selfless guy. You're a very hard worker. You show up and you don't ask for anything in return. You show up, you give, you give, you give. And like you said, in return, your life just blesses you. And dude, you just came off one of the best months of your career, probably the best month of your career. Um, and you signed eight new clients. You put seven deals together, and you generated about 60,000 in revenue in 1 month. So we talked about your personal bumps this year, but let's talk about your motherfucking wins. How did you do that? What clicked? What happened there?
I would say so many things clicked. I think it was the accumulation of showing up every day and just my skills, my effort, my confidence compounding. I would say um, the biggest thing, Joe. I mean, you were there with me through it all. The biggest thing was just like a lot of other people in the world. I struggle with I guess limited, I guess blockades on what it is that I feel is possible. And I told you this like a couple weeks ago, but what I did was mathematically not too possible. Now, when I say this, I just want to preface it. I don't mean that like mathematically what I did was that crazy. Like there's plenty of people that assign eight clients, but what I mean is the numbers that it took when I did my numbers for June was, it was a few thousand conversations I had to have and all these different things. And I did everything. I signed eight clients based off of numbers of half of that effort, or actually a little bit less than half that I needed to have in order to do that. If that does that make sense?
So I'll
Like
tee I'll
I
tee it
needed to
up because
have
I
X
know
amount of.
I'll tee it up
Yeah.
because I know exactly what you mean. You said a few thousand conversations like it's nothing. Me and you and Rob Neely, we work together. We cold call together every single morning from 8 a.m. to 12. And in that block, we have around 30 conversations with people. So if we do the math on that, if we do 30 times, hold on, my phone is bugging out. But this is gonna give the viewers good context right now. So if we do 30 times how many working days are in a month? What, 22, 21?
Let's just call it 22, 23. Yeah.
22. That's 660 conversations in 1 month. You said to get 8 clients, you needed a couple thousand. That's what you said. You said you needed a couple thousand, but you did it with a sheer fraction of effort. And I guess with you saying that, and you're talking about mentally, like the blockades, what like changed? Like, what did you remove from your mental to then achieve this?
I just showed up extremely intentional. Every single conversation was life or death. Every single conversation was not only life or death, but how can I solve this person's issue? And like we talked about, be selfless. So I just really try to listen, which is something that is a problem for me sometimes. Not very selfless. My dad wouldn't be happy with that, but I just was very intentional, showing up every single day in every single area, personal, fitness, mental, journaling. I just really set myself up for success.
Yeah, well, don't worry about sometimes not being the best listener because this is not the perfect people podcast. This is the closers, and Anthony, that's what you are. But I want to shift gears a little bit.
Yeah.
A lot of people, you've heard this before. A lot of people talk about, oh, in hindsight, I should have done this better, or I regret doing this. And yeah, that's easy to say. But in hindsight, when you look back, what is something that you're like, you know what? I love that I did that. What's like, I wouldn't change that thing. I would do the exactly the same way. What is something that you look back and you say, you know what, that's exactly right.
So when I first got into a couple years into real estate, I used to tell people, I'm like, man, I wish I would have done this when I was 18 instead of 21. And then now that I'm older, I'm actually like, scratch that idea altogether, forget that, throw it in the trash. Because the person it requires, or the person you have to become in this business requires such an effort, not only to just be average, but to be just slightly over average, you have to become somebody else. Then to be exceptional, you have to become somebody else. And then to be a top of the top real estate agent, you have to become a whole separate person. So although I don't want to have limited beliefs about myself at 18, I would say something I don't regret is waiting a little bit and kind of going through that growth that I did from 18 to 21. Because I think it prepped me to not struggle too much with the business. I think it gave me a little bit of life experience. Um, like one thing that's important in this business, not only is skill set, but it is life experience. Like you just know more as you age. It's just how life goes, and I think that's something that actually I wouldn't change.
Exactly the way you did it. And I'm happy to hear that. And I was just saying, as an 18-year-old, it's really tough to show up. Well, if me in my position, if I was 18 showing up to this business and what it requires and what it demands, I don't know if I could do it. I probably can because I'm Joe Garcia, but that's neither here or there. You hired your mom as your assistant, and we talked about what this business like demands from each other. What was that like, and how has that changed you and how you show up in your business and in your life?
Mm. Well, I would say hiring on anybody into your business automatically removes any sort of excuses for not showing up. As an entrepreneur, technically speaking, you don't have to do anything. Especially if you're a solopreneur, like if you're just solo real estate agent, you're making money. Technically speaking, if your friends were like, "Hey, do you want to go do this?" Like you totally can. However, as soon as you make any sort of hire, that idea goes out the window. That no longer exists. It's done. Period. It's over with. So that's the number one thing that's changed. Not that that was a terrible issue for me, showing up and things like that, but everybody has days where you you show up with less standards than you'd like for yourself, right? So that definitely changed a lot. I show up with more maturity to this business just naturally. Um, and then on top of that, you hire a family member. What kind of person do you look like hiring your mom on, and she comes to the office and you don't show up? Like I just can't fathom anybody that would be okay with that, unless it was vacation or whatever. Um, that added a layer on top of it. Like not only is my assistant showing up, but my assistant happens to be my mom. So there is no excuses anymore because now she's getting paid directly based off my efforts. And I don't know about you. Actually, I do know about you, Joe, and I know not having having your mom not have a good life is just not okay with someone like you and I, right? So that's super important to me. So I think that changed. I think I've never been in a position to be a leader. That's something that I'm learning and growing through. And that's an exciting place to be in too. Imagine like in your 20s and you have an opportunity to be a leader earlier than most. I think that's just a really good life experience that you need if
What,
this is the path for you.
what does that mean for you, like leadership?
What it means to me to be a leader is there are certain standards, goals, a vision that you want to have in your business, and it's completely up to you. It's your call, it's your business, but they need to be set up in a way where others can gravitate towards that, take a hold of it, buy into it, and then grow in ways that they didn't even imagine that they could grow in themselves. And I think if you're able to have other people grow based off of how much you grow, I think that's an exceptional leader. I think if you look at it, I'm a basketball guy. One thing that I've always loved about this player, Chris Paul, Chris Paul has made so many different careers for so many different people. He leaves the team and they no longer perform in the same way because he makes things possible for these players that they never thought was possible for themselves. He got DeAndre Jordan paid, he got DeAndre Ayton paid, he got so many different people paid because of how much of a floor general he was. And I think I always relate things to basketball because it's what I know. And I think you can position that with exactly what I said about how or what it means to me to be a leader, in the same context.
Yeah, that I can see that. Chris Paul is one of the greatest point guards of all time, but he doesn't get the limelight that he deserves. Why? Because maybe he's not the biggest guy, maybe he doesn't have the best dribble, but one thing that nobody can take away from Chris Paul is you're right. He's a phenomenal leader. He's a person that shows up, pours into other players like the DeAndre Aytons of the world, like the Blake Griffins of the world, like the DeAndre
Okay,
Jordan of the world, and he makes them better. And that's exactly what a leader does. Leader wants his team to be better than what they were before. So that's amazing.
I
And
want
I
to make
guess
I want to make it clear though, I'm not comparing myself to the top five NBA point guard of all time. I just, I
maybe
just
you
want
should.
to.
Maybe you should. Why
Maybe I
not?
should. Yeah. Maybe I should. Yeah.
Maybe you become the floor general that, listen, we put whatever we put into the universe is our reality. So if you want to be a floor general, that's what you're going to be, baby. So, what's one thing though that you think holds most people back from like winning in entrepreneurship?
Oh man. I think the biggest thing that holds people back from winning in entrepreneurship, I think there was two things. It's okay if I give you two things. I'm just
You
kidding. I
give
know
me
it's
three
okay.
things.
Um, the first thing is not treating this like it sounds silly, but not having a schedule and not treating this actually like a job. I think that's a big mistake. And then I would say the second thing is not having belief in yourself. No, nobody's gonna save you when you're an entrepreneur. Absolutely nobody. Nobody's gonna create things for you. Nobody's going to show up to your appointments for you. Nobody's going to close for you. Nobody's going to sell for you. Nobody's going to put money in your bank account. It's completely up to you. And I think the person that understands that and likes it and invites it, number one, they're crazy because all entrepreneurs are crazy, and then number two, they're impressive.
So so for you is number one is not sticking to your schedule, not doing what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to be doing it, just thinking that this is a job. No, not taking it serious, like it's not a job. And number two
Yeah.
is knowing nobody's gonna save you. Like nobody's gonna come in here uh and rearrange your paychecks. You gotta come and put food on your table. You gotta come and put food in your fiance's mouth. So I agree with you. Nobody's gonna save you. Back against the wall. Who do we want? We want ourselves, right? But now we know a little bit about what people are missing when it comes to winning in entrepreneurship. I know you're mentoring somebody close to yourself in your circle who's starting a business. What has that been like for you? Like mentoring somebody else?
Oh, it's my favorite thing because in doing that, it let me know what I want my career path to be later on in life, which as of right now, obviously I'm 25 years old. This could change, but I don't want to put a limit on on what I can do. But as of right now, something I'm really passionate about is a potential future in consulting small business owners that are just getting started. Um, and it's been amazing to me to kind of guide him through things and have him see business in a little bit of a different perspective. We've been blessed to be coached by, the same people, multiple different coaches that we've had. And I think mix of that plus personal experience plus just life experience, just being older than this person, I think it's just super fulfilling because I can see him making mistakes that I made and then I can see him solve them a lot faster based off of the life experience I'm giving him. And that's just amazing to me. If you can go back to somebody that was your age when he's the exact age I am starting his business as I was starting mine, and a problem that maybe took me 2 months to solve, I'm seeing him solve it in 2 days. And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is amazing. And on top of it, having that skill set to offer to the marketplace to solve people's problems in months or weeks or maybe even years faster than they could. It's just so exciting to me. And it honestly blows my mind
It's invaluable
that we can
because
do that.
yeah, it's invaluable because I always say life is like a pay to play sport. What you didn't know at 21 when you started your business was it's called ignorance tax. And all we have to do is, there's everywhere in this world, just like for that guy, you are teaching him something, you're mentoring him something, you're coaching him in like business mistakes so he doesn't have to do that. And everywhere in the world that's happening. Whatever people want to learn, whether that's how to lose weight, whether that's how to acquire clients, whether that's how to be a better father, a better person, there's people out there that teach these things, that coach these things, that are professional, high level achievers, and you pay them a small tax of whatever their fee is, and somehow, some way, you can go from learning nothing to a topic to being the expert in that topic. So life is sometimes a pay to play sport. But I guess to sum everything up, or to move on to the next question, when everything is like said and done, and you've accomplished everything you set out, what you wanted in this world, what do you want people to say about Anthony Ramirez?
I want them to say he's creative, he's excellent at communicating, he left the world in a better place, he respected anybody and everybody he came across. He was an exceptional business builder and business owner, and I want them to say that he was exceptional.
Exceptional. That's the word,
I'll just,
exceptional.
I'll just leave it at that.
There you go. Leave it at that. Period. Period. Stop. So
Period. Stop.
we're gonna tie this up here, but this is a mantra I carry every single day. You probably know the question that I'm gonna ask you next, because I'm gonna tee it up right now. Every single day when we go and right before we prospect, every single day I look at myself in the mirror and I ask you this question. I'm gonna ask it for you, for the millions that are watching at home. When your back's against the wall, who do you want?
It's always me every single day. Always me.
Always you. And to give the audience some more like context and frame, when I say backs against the wall, this is a do or die sport. This is entrepreneurship. You either live and succeed or you drown. There's no in between. So you're a basketball guy. 34 seconds are all left on the clock. You're down three. You want the ball in your hands. Why do you want the ball in your hands, Anthony?
I want the ball in my hands because I know what situations I've been in, and I know what it's like to go through them. So I don't trust anybody else when my back's against the wall. If I'm set to lose, I'd rather go down swinging based off what I know I bring to the table versus anybody else.
That's amazing. So now, if somebody's listening right now and they're like, okay, I can see, I can see me being like Anthony, but they're scared. They're playing small. They're thinking small. They don't really know how to choose themselves. What's your message to them?
I would say the only thing that's left to do is if you have a goal to start it, they just need to start, number one. And however low the bar they need to make in order to do that, then make it, no matter if it's embarrassing to them. And then I would say every step of the way, be extremely curious on how you can be better.
So let's talk a little bit about that. You said set the bar extremely low. And that's designed for, I know exactly what you're talking about, but I want you to elaborate on that. What is that designed to you? Like designed to do?
It's designed to, there's a lot of things that highly ambitious people want to achieve, but they get stuck in no man's land or procrastination land by setting their goals super, super, super high, but they have standards that are extremely low. So I'm saying for them to set the bar low in order for them to get started, have progression, to then be able to raise their standards and raise their goals later.
So if I'm hearing you right, it's kind of like an example of like, hey, if you want to get into the gym, um, and there's got there, you see them on TikTok or you see them on Instagram, they're like, you got to go to the gym 6 times a week, and you got to do this, you got to do that. But you're saying, let's set the bar low. Let's go to the gym maybe once or twice. Let's build up some confidence. And then as we get more confidence, then we continue to raise the bar. And that's in your perspective how people then start to believe in themselves and they start to believe in themselves and then they can finally choose themselves when their back's against the wall.
100%.
Very good. So last question. Dude, you're a closer. I love you. But why do you think you're a closer? Like what makes you, Anthony Ramirez, a closer?
I would say throughout my entire life, no matter how bad things have gotten, I've never just sat down and died. I've always pushed through. I've always I've always carried myself in a way where even if there's little things in the back of my mind telling me I can't do it, I've always, even if it took me a little bit longer than I'd like it to, I've always ignored them and pushed past them. And I think that mixed with curiosity on, like I said, like growing myself, I think those are the biggest keys to me being a closer.
Amazing, amazing. Well, everybody's heard it here first. We're gonna do another one of these in like a year from now, and let's see where you're at then, because I know the sky's the limit for you, and you encompass a lot of perseverance, selflessness, and great energy. So, Anthony, thanks so much for stopping by. Before you go, do you want to say anything? One last thing to the crowd.
I just want to say thanks for having me and everybody that's watching. You guys are early because I know Joe's going to take this thing to the moon. So I appreciate you having me on.
There we go. Well, I'll see you at the top, brother. How does that sound,
Yeah, I'll see you on Monday.
huh? All right.